Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Marvel Legends Sauron wave, which, as you can see, is a very Deadpool-heavy wave of figures. Man, that Sauron Build-a-Figure looks amazing. I can't wait to check that out. But there's a really great assortment of figures in this particular line. There's some good 90s goodness in here. I always love getting some of these classic X-Men looks. The X-Men are one of my favorite lines to collect within Marvel Legends. And of course, since I grew up through that 90s era, those are obviously my favorite looks for a lot of these characters. So some really cool stuff. I want to point out one funny thing though. There's this goofy Deadpool variant in this particular series, wearing the boxers. I love the way they packaged him. He's the only one who you might notice out of all of those who has sort of this pinkish reddish background, and the way that they posed him in the box, you kind of see what they're doing there. They basically made it look like Deadpool's laying in bed with his arms behind his head while he's grinning next to the torso of Sauron. It's really subtle, but it's hilarious. It's ridiculous. All right, let's go ahead and get these guys opened up and take a look at them one by one, and we will start off with Omega Red. Very cool, a character who definitely needed an update. I think Toy Biz was the last time we saw this guy in the Marvel Legends line. He is a bigger figure. He's on that bigger body, so you can see from the bottom of his feet to the top of his ponytail, he's almost a full 8 inches tall. Very big, bulky dude, but that's perfect. Can't wait to get this dude battling my shorter Wolverine figure. But I do love the sculpt. The face looks great on this guy. Really nice paint deco on here. Let me come in a little closer so you guys can see, because he's got that real white face, but then he's got the nice kind of silver mechanical bits over here on his cheeks. He's got the teeth gritting pose there. His blonde hair, of course, coming down along the sides of his face. Really nice looking. The paint all around on this guy looks really good. I love the shiny silver with the Omega symbol there on his hands. Just really nice looking figure all in all. So let's talk about the articulation real quick, because it is Marvel Legends after all. That head's on a nice ball joint, so it rolls all the way around. There's also that hinge joint on the neck, so it can look down, slightly look up. The hair on the back's going to hinder his movement a little bit, moving all the way upwards. This right here, this harness, you can see it's a separate piece, and it is a bit loose. It's kind of funny. It just, like, it's clipped onto him right there with that little peg on the back, so it might move around a little bit while you're posing him. But otherwise, he does have like those ball-like joints at the shoulders. Arms can go forwards and backwards as well. Look at that. He's also got that extra joint. It's kind of hard to see because of the armor, but you see that? Where you can actually move him, like he's got that lat joint there. So you can actually move his arms forwards and backwards a little bit, which is really nice. Swivels at the bicep. You got real tight double joints at the elbows there. Ooh, look at that. Good range of motion. You got the swivels at the wrist, and of course he's got his little tentacles there, which I'm going to show you those more in just a bit, because there's a cool little interchangeability feature with that. You do have the ab crunch, which does not get hindered by that armor at all. You got the swivel at the waist there. You got the nice hinge joints at the thighs. You got swivels at the thighs as well. You do have double joints in the knees. They put his crazy little tops of his boots on the sculpt in that knee piece, so you can see the joints are around it. That's actually really nice. No boot cut swivel, but the ankles do move up and down as well as rock side to side. So that brings us back to those tentacles. So you can see they're kind of smaller there, but to mimic the way he can actually like get those little whips to like extend outwards. Look at that. They're on just little pegs there. And then we can swap them for these longer pieces. Look at that. So here, just pop those pegs right in there. They actually do get a real nice tight grip, which is great. Boom, just like that. And now we've got Omega Red with his extended little whip coil things. So these are not posable. I know on the Toy Biz one, I remember it had like the bendy materials. These are just kind of that soft, pliable material that are molded, kind of curled like that. And to be honest, I'm okay with that. I know some people might miss the ability to actually pose those around a little bit, but this isn't so bad. They actually do stand out pretty good right now. I know over time, we'll probably have to worry about them drooping, because that does tend to happen to this pliable plastic. But as it is right now, that actually works out pretty cool. I like him. All right, so let's talk about Wolverine. X23 Wolverine. This is a really, really nice looking figure. So this one is wearing the yellow and blue tiger stripe Wolverine costume, which is very cool. The sculpt is fantastic. I mean, like, I just love the way she looks standing there. It's very cool, very, very kind of imposing. She's got windswept hair, so the hair is always blowing out to the side, but posing her on the shelf with that hair like that, that looks really cool. So she's a very nice looking figure. I've got one paint smudge right there on her chest, a little bit of blue, so it kind of stands out on that yellow. And then the arms are like done in the blue plastic, so they painted the yellow on it, and you can see that the yellow is not quite thick enough. That happens a lot when you paint the lighter colors over the dark. You can actually see the blue bleeding through a little bit. Honestly, I'm being a little nitpicky because all in all, I think she looks really, really nice. So she just has the two claws on either hand. They're nice and straight. They're not removable on this one that I can tell. It doesn't seem like it, but they are nice and straight, which I really, really appreciate. They're not bent or anything like that. The belt is a loose piece, but that's cool. It just kind of hangs there on her hips. She's also got these extra little claws on her toes, and those are removable. So there's on little pegs. They do leave a hole if you take them out, but if you want to remove them, it is worth noting that you can pop those out. So articulation-wise on this figure, she does have the joint at the neck so she can look left and right. She's got the hinge joint as well. It's real tight. She looks down better than she looks up because of the hair sculpt. The arms can move outwards and forwards and backwards at the shoulders. You got swivels there at the elbow as well as bends at the elbow, swivels and hinges at the wrist. She's got the joint and the torso that rolls all the way around. You got the legs on the ball joints at the thighs, so legs can go out about that far, but they move forwards and backwards nicely. Swivels at the thighs, double joints on the knees, nothing at the boot cut because of the sculpt of the boots, but then the ankles go forwards and backwards and rock side to side. So pretty standard for what we see for a lot of the female figures in this particular size and stature. One more thing here is we do have the unmasked head that we can swap on if we want to. So it's on a ball joint. Small ball joint there, but you can pop that off, and in its place you can pop on the unmasked head for X23 if you would like to. And one thing I'll say about this is I've seen this a lot with like the unmasked heads, I feel like, and I don't know if it's just me, you guys can tell me. The head looks a little too big. It just looks a little big on that body. I don't know, like when you put it next to the masked head, see, it looks a little bit bigger than the masked head. I don't know. It's a beautiful sculpt. It looks great. Maybe it's the yellow line in the middle of the neck that's making it look like, I don't know, it could totally be playing tricks on my eyes. But it is cool. We got that swappable head there and an otherwise very nice fit. You need some more 90s X-Men goodness? Well, good news. Bishop is here. Really, really great sculpt on this guy as well. I love him. Look at that. We got the red little handkerchief thing. It's a separate piece around his neck. Looks really great. He does have his big old crazy futuristic gun there, which he's got the holster for on his back. Look at that. Boom. So you can kind of put it in this giant holster that's on his back if you want to do that, or you can hold it. Both of his hands have a trigger finger, so you can put it in either hand there that you want to. We got the little M right there branded over his eye, but all in all, just a great looking figure. It's a good sculpt. The paint looks really good all the way around, I'd say, except for the back. It looks like the yellow holster really scratched up his back, probably when the factory was putting it in the box. Left a lot of yellow marks, but at least that's on his back. Otherwise, he looks really nice. He's got the larger body type there, which makes total sense for Bishop. Standard articulation. They did the bottom of his sleeves kind of by adding those separate pieces. So look at that. They will fall down sometimes. It looks great when they're where they're supposed to be because the paint just kind of ends right there. And these are supposed to kind of be like the cuffs there at the bottom of his sleeves. But the articulation otherwise works exactly like you would expect. Looks like there's no hinge joints on his particular wrists. He does have the real tight ab crunch. We got the swivel at the waist. You got the thighs that go outwards, forwards, backwards. You got real tight swivels there at the thighs. Double joints at the knees. You do have the boot cut here, as well as the ankles that go forwards and backwards and rock side to side. And my 90s X-Men shelf loves him. Okay, let's get into all the Deadpool that this wave has to offer, and we'll start off with a lady Deadpool here. A really, really fantastic figure. She does come with the two katana swords. One thing I want to point out, she does not get a tight grip on these at all. I mean, these things really kind of flop around in her hand. Now, it's fine because you can get her standing in like a pose and she holds on to it. I do just wish the grip was a little bit tighter because when you're moving her around, I mean, these things really just kind of flop and fall out of her hands there. But still, 2 katana blades there. I really like the sculpt on her. You can see she's got the kind of sculpt on the eyes where she's got the one a little squinted and the one a little more open. And then her hair coming out of the top of her head is kind of billowing in the wind there, which is really nice. It's also got a really nice wash on it, which is really cool. It's really soft and pliable. It's not posable, but I'd be really worried about this tearing here at the head. So be a little careful with that. It kind of feels like that's a possibility. So articulation-wise, you can move the head all around. It is ball-jointed there, of course. She does have a very similar the body type to what we just saw with Wolverine X23. So what we just saw with that, you're going to get here with this figure as well. All the way around, ball joint swivels there in the torso. Yep, so articulation works the same on this one. Now, she does have these little pouches, and you can see they fell down already. These are supposed to be up on her thighs. When you're posing her around, they are going to fall off. Now, they look fine when they're where they're supposed to be. It's just real easy to knock those down so that they're hanging where they shouldn't be. But she's still really, really fun figure. She looks fantastic, and if you're a fan of all the various Deadpool figures, it's pretty cool to get her. Plus, as an added bonus, she comes packaged with Headpool. That's right, the head of our zombie Deadpool from that old Marvel Zombies run. Of course, he's now known as Headpool these days. He's awesome because he comes with a little beanie hat that actually does have a spinning propeller. How cool is that? Plus, he comes with this clear flight stand, so you can plug him into that. Really great little sculpt there, and it's just another Deadpool that we can add to our collection. So from the story arc, Deadpool joins the X-Men. We've got Deadpool in his yellow and blue X-Men uniform. I love it too because it just says X-Men on his chest. It's just a really goofy Deadpool variant. Deadpool's popular, so of course they're going to crank out variants of him. The figure itself, there's a few things I want to point out. First of all, the tops of his boots, they did it the same way that we saw with Bishop's sleeves there, where they just added these extra pieces. These things fall down a lot. So like I pulled him out of the box and he was basically just like this with these dangling around his ankles. They don't stay up very good. They just slide down a lot. So while it's a cool way to do the boots without doing like a full new boot sculpt, it's not executed great on this guy because they just don't fit the way they should and they fall down real easy. The same could probably be said for now we've seen this before too. The bandolier piece that holds onto his katanas on his back, it just fits over his arms just like that. So it's pretty loose too. It kind of, it falls off real easy. But he does have 2 katanas that he can house on his back, which is really nice. So he can hold on to those if you want. Or of course we've got this large blaster as well. He's even got the little X-Men insignia there on his belt, which is very cool. And his classic red mask. So that is really neat. Now, he comes with a really interesting interchangeable head. I had no idea who this was, admittedly, so I had to do a little bit of research. This is a character named Madcap. So you can actually swap this off if you want to, and you can pop Madcap onto his body. Now, Madcap is an actual character in the Marvel Universe, but the reason that this head came with this figure is there was a story arc where Madcap and Deadpool both basically died at the same time. They blew up. But since Deadpool can regenerate, when he regenerated with the remains of Madcap. So Madcap became like this voice inside of his head. And then there was, I believe at the end of the story, Deadpool like ripped himself in half. And then since he can regenerate, half of him regenerated as Madcap and half of him regenerated as Deadpool. Real weird stuff. That's why Madcap comes with this figure. This isn't really Madcap's body. It's just kind of to be in the nod of putting it on the Deadpool body. I have no idea if we'll ever get this character proper in Marvel Legends, but it's really interesting that they threw him in here. He's actually got like a little removable crazy hat. There, you can take the hat off. Oh, the head popped off too. Yeah, so, I don't know. There you go. We've got that. And this one is just weird. I mean, it's Deadpool. We all know Deadpool is meant to be silly and goofy. So the body type on this one's a little different. He's bigger. He's more like the more recent Deadpool figure, unlike that X-Men one we just had that was a little more slender. But this one's got his mask pulled up so we can see his gross face, but he's got the big cheesy smile going on there. And for whatever reason, he's missing his pants. So he's wearing boxers with hearts on them. And we can see it's really interesting because there's a lot of unique sculpting here because like they sculpted his scarred up legs. And then he's wearing pink fuzzy slippers. And on the right foot, he's wearing a gray, torn, gross sock. It's just really goofy. Now, he does come with 2 guns. He's got the smaller blaster. He's got the bigger blaster. There's a holster on his belt that does not fit either of these. But, you know, it's just a goofy figure, I guess, if you want to add something funny and silly to your collection. If you're a Deadpool fan, like I said, they're going to keep doing variants of Deadpool because he's popular. So, why not? He's a fun one. But that brings us to the legit highlight of this entire series, which is the Build-A-Figure, which is Sauron, which stands almost a full 9 inches tall. I mean, this dude is massive. Look at him. And the sculpting is absolutely amazing on this guy. I mean, all the scales and just the really, really great details worked into this sculpt. I mean, look at this dude. He's got this tail on his back, which is posable there. Look at the torn, tattered loincloth with the rope belt and the sashes all hanging down there, the little pouches and everything. And then, of course, he's got this amazing wingspan. Look at this. It's articulated here and here, so you can really bring the wings outwards. Look at that. That thing is amazing. In fact, here, let's try to measure this wingspan. It looks like the wingspan, oh wow, is almost 17 inches long. He is fantastic. And the mouth is articulated, so you can open and close the jaw. You can see the great sculpted details on the inside with those wretched teeth and the tongue. Look at that. So the head is ball jointed, can turn at the top of the neck. The neck itself doesn't really turn there. But then we do have nice ball joints at the shoulders. You got the swivels at the bicep. You got tight joints at the elbows. You still have swivels and hinge joints at the wrist, as well as, you know, all the wings are individually articulated with the arms there, which is really nice. The torso's real loose on this guy, I will say. And also, that's one other thing. The Build-A-Figure pieces seem to keep popping off of this guy. So if that's my one complaint about him, he's a little too loose here. But man, with the great hinge joint they put on the neck at the base there, I mean, you can get some awesome flying poses with this guy. Look at that. Oh, that is so fantastic. I mean, this guy is awesome. My nitpick, of course, being that he's a little too loose in all the joints, but sculpt-wise, he is beautiful, and I absolutely love him. And this is something that I just had to do. Had to do it with this guy. It's comparison time. You see that tiny little figure standing next to him? That is the original Toy Biz Sauron figure from my childhood. That's the one I had as a kid. I still have it today with all my classic Toy Biz X-Men figures, and it is really crazy looking at him standing alongside this new Marvel Legends Sauron. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the Sauron wave of Marvel Legends. All in all, it's a really fun series. A lot of Deadpool variations, but also a lot of 90s X-Men goodness. So a lot of cool things to pick up. And you know what? This is a wave I would recommend trying to track down and buy all of, even if you don't want all the figures, because Sauron is totally worth it. He's an amazing Build-A-Figure. I got to give a very special thanks to the folks at Hasbro because they provided this particular series specifically for this review. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, leave me a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time.